Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Anubha Rohatgi, and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP National Office Bearers meeting in Jaipur. Urges office bearers to work for developmental issues. Centre asks states and union territories to increase pace of COVID-19 vaccination coverage. Supreme Court transfers Gyanvapi Mosque case to District Judge of Varanasi. India records highest ever annual foreign direct inflow of $83.57 billion in last fiscal. Reserve Bank of India approves transfer of 30,307 crore rupees as surplus to central government for 2021-22. Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner decide to voluntarily curtail perks and privileges available to them. Government prioritizes research and development as an industry, says Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Indigenously built space telescope AstroSat witnesses birth of black holes for the 500th time. PV Sindhu storms into semi-final of Thailand Open Badminton Tournament. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 95 for 4 in the 10th over against Rajasthan Royals at Brabourne Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today accused the opposition of trying to divide the nation on the basis of caste and religion. He said some political parties were injecting poison in the country for their own selfish interests. The Prime Minister was addressing the Bharatiya Janata Party delegates after inaugurating the meeting of National Office Bearers in Jaipur today through video conferencing.
ये राजनीतिक दल अपने स्वार्थ के लिए समाज में जो छोटी मोटी तनाव होते हैं, कुछ कमजोरियां होती हैं, उसे ढूंढ करके उसमें जहर डालने का काम करते रहते हैं. उस कमजोरियों पर ही खेलते रहते हैं. कभी जाति के नाम पर, कभी क्षेत्रवाद के नाम पर लोगों को भड़का रहे हैं. एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का सपना लेकर के चल रही भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लिए ये भी अनिवार्य है कि देश के लोगों को लगातार हमें सावधान करते रहना होगा. इस प्रकार के लोगों के दलों से सचेत करना होगा.
Mr. Modi urged the office bearers to stick to the country's developmental issues.
दुनिया आज भारत को बहुत उम्मीदों से देख रही है. ठीक वैसे ही भारत में भाजपा के प्रति जनता का एक विशेष अनुभव हो रहा है. देश की जनता भाजपा को बहुत विश्वास से, बहुत उम्मीद से देख रही. देश की जनता की आशा आकांक्षा हमारा दायित्व बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ा देती. आजादी के इस अमृत काल में देश अपने लिए अगले 25 वर्षों के लक्ष्य तय कर रहा है. भाजपा के लिए ये समय है अगले 25 वर्षों के लक्ष्य तय करने का, उनके लिए निरंतर काम करने का. देश के लोगों की जो उम्मीदें हैं हमें वो पूरी करनी है.
The Prime Minister said they all need to find the challenges before the country. Our mantra is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, he added.
देश के लोगों की जो उम्मीदें हैं हमें वो पूरी करनी है. देश के सामने जो चुनौतियां हैं हमें देश के लोगों के साथ मिलकर हर चुनौतियों को पार करना है और विजय के संकल्प के साथ आगे बढ़ना है. और हम जानते हैं इसका मार्ग क्या है. हमारा दर्शन है पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय का एकात्म मानव दर्शन, अंत्योदय. हमारा चिंतन है डॉक्टर श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी की सांस्कृतिक राष्ट्र नीति. हमारा मंत्र है सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास.
Mr. Modi said as BJP workers, they have no right to sit down in peace. There is a BJP government in 18 states, more than 1,300 MLAs and more than 400 MPs. He said parties which are promoting family politics have wasted valuable time of the country. He said that this is a serious threat to the country. The Prime Minister said the BJP has made the politics of development a part of the mainstream in the country. Mr. Modi said the NDA government is completing 8 years. These 8 years have been full of determination and accomplishments. On the completion of 8 years of Modi government, the Bharatiya Janata Party will run a 15-day-long special campaign for public outreach program about the welfare schemes of the central government. The program will start from the 30th of May. Under this campaign, party workers will interact with the beneficiaries of various schemes of the central government and take feedback regarding the schemes.
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has called upon the youth of the country to ideate, innovate and indigenize new technologies in order to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat as envisioned by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Singh was addressing the 13th convocation ceremony of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth in Pune today.
आज भारत अपनी जरूरतों के लिए दूसरे देशों पर निर्भर नहीं रहना चाहिए। हम अधिकांश मामलों में आत्मनिर्भर बने, इसके लिए देश में मेक इन इंडिया को भी बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। हमारे डिफेंस में भी इस पर तेजी से काम हो रहा है। प्रधानमंत्री ने देश में वोकल फॉर लोकल की अपील की और यह वोकल फॉर लोकल का आग्रह देश में युवाओं को मजबूती देगा, उनके लिए रोजगार के अवसर भी बढ़ाएगा, ऐसी मेरी मान्यता है। और साथियों, किसी भी देश का भविष्य उसके यूथ पर निर्भर होता है और हमारा यूथ यही हमारी सबसे बड़ी ताकत है। और मेरा हमेशा मानना है कि युवा बदलाव का सबसे बड़ा कैटलिस्ट है और सबसे बड़ा सोर्स भी। इन्वेंशन, इनोवेशन और आइडियाज के दम पर हमारा युवा किसी भी चुनौती का सामना करने और उन्हें अवसर में बदलने की पूरी क्षमता रखता है।
The centre has flagged concerns regarding the considerably low pace of COVID-19 vaccination across states and union territories and urged them to significantly expedite the pace towards full vaccination coverage. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan today reviewed the status of COVID vaccination with Health Secretaries and National Health Mission Managing Directors of states and UTs through a video conference. Speaking on this occasion, Mr. Bhushan highlighted the urgent need for an intensive mission mode push to COVID-19 vaccination and asked the participants to plan for a 2-month-long Har Ghar Dastak campaign 2.0 during June-July this year. The objective of the campaign is to vaccinate and saturate the eligible population groups for first, second and precaution doses through door-to-door campaigns with focused campaigns for old age homes, schools and colleges, prisons and brick-kilns. Over 191 crore 96 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said over 15 lakh 12,000 doses were administered yesterday. The recovery rate is currently at 98.752%.
The Supreme Court today ordered transfer of the Gyan-Vapi Mosque case to the District Judge of Varanasi. A 3-judge bench comprising Justices D.Y. Chandrachud, Suryakant and P.S. Narasimha was hearing a petition challenging the filming of Varanasi's Gyan-Vapi Mosque. In its order, the Apex Court also said, having regard to the sensitivity of this civil suit, the case is transferred from the Civil Judge Senior Division to the Varanasi District Judge. The case was being heard by a trial court in Varanasi with the next hearing scheduled for Monday. The Apex Court bench also observed that the need for fraternity between communities and the need for peace is topmost for the court. Justice Chandrachud said a sense of balance and calm is needed on the ground and a degree of healing touch. India has emerged as a preferred investment destination, which is evident from the fact that India has recorded the highest ever annual foreign direct investment FDI inflow of $83.57 billion in the last fiscal year. In comparison to FDI inflows received in the financial year 2014-15, when the country had attracted FDI inflow of $45.15 billion, FDI inflows registered a growth of 85% in the last financial year. India has received over $301 billion in the last 4 fiscal years. As per the data of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, country's FDI inflows have increased 20-fold since financial year 2003-04, when the inflows were $4.3 billion only. India is also emerging as a preferred country for foreign investments in the manufacturing sector. The FDI inflow in manufacturing sector has increased by 76% to $21.34 billion in last fiscal year as compared to fiscal year 2020-21, when this sector received $12.09 billion worth of investment.
The Reserve Bank of India has approved the transfer of 30,307 crore rupees as surplus to the central government for the accounting year 2021-22. According to an official press release, The 596th meeting of the Central Board of Directors of Reserve Bank of India was held in Mumbai today under the chairmanship of Governor Shaktikant Das, wherein the board approved the annual report and accounts of the Reserve Bank for the said year. Besides discussing the current economic situation, global and domestic challenges, and the impact of recent geopolitical developments, the board also decided to maintain the contingency risk buffer at 5.5%. Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner have decided to voluntarily curtail perks and privileges available to them. After assuming the charge as the Chief Election Commissioner of India on 15th of May, CEC Rajiv Kumar today chaired the first meeting of the Election Commission, in which Election Commissioner Anup Chandra Pandey was also present. Among other things, the Commission, in its meeting, reviewed the perks and privileges available to the Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners, including the income tax exemptions given to them on sumptuary allowance. The Chief Election Commissioner, CEC, and Election Commissioners, ECs, are currently entitled to a monthly sumptuary allowance of 34,000 rupees, and there is no income tax payable by them on this allowance. Further, they will avail only one leave travel concession, LTC, in a year in place of 3 LTCs presently available to them.
Union Minister for Education Dharmendra Pradhan has said the Union government is giving priority to research and development in the country and considers it as an industry. He was speaking after inaugurating the Indian Institute of Technology Guwahati's Northeast Research Conclave today. The minister said this conclave will showcase the best research initiatives from educational and research institutions across the Northeast region. It will also play a catalytic role in promoting innovation and entrepreneurship, including encouraging development of indigenous technologies for sustainable development. The Department of Food and Public Distribution is making all-out efforts to ensure implementation of rice fortification to address malnutrition, anemia, and micronutrient deficiencies. Rice fortification, a process of adding macronutrients like iron, folic acid, and vitamin B12, is an effective, preventive, and cost-efficient complementary strategy to address the challenge of anemia. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has said that there are various studies in the global as well as Indian context, including pilot projects, which have proven the efficacy of fortified rice as an effective intervention to address anemia. In an ambitious attempt to combat the serious problem of anemia due to malnutrition, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had made an announcement on the 75th Independence Day to mandate rice fortification in all social safety net schemes by 2024.
The Executive Committee of National Mission for Clean Ganga has approved 11 projects with an estimated cost of around 660 crore rupees. The decision was taken in the 42nd meeting of the Executive Committee, which was held yesterday under the chairmanship of Director General G. Ashok Kumar. Senior IAS officer Gyanesh Bharti has been appointed as the Commissioner of Municipal Corporation of Delhi. He is a 1998 batch IAS officer of Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Mizoram and Union Territories, AGMID cadre. The Union Home Ministry has also appointed Senior IAS Officer Ashwini Kumar as Special Officer for the MCD. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP National Office Bearers meeting in Jaipur, urges office bearers to work for developmental issues. Centre asks states and union territories to increase pace of COVID-19 vaccination coverage. Supreme Court transfers Gyanvapi mosque case to District Judge of Varanasi. India records highest ever annual foreign direct inflow of $83.57 billion in last fiscal. Reserve Bank of India approves transfer of 30,307 crore rupees as surplus to central government for 2021-22. Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner decide to voluntarily curtail perks and privileges available to them. Government prioritizes research and development as an industry, says Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Indigenously built space telescope AstroSat witnesses birth of black holes for the 500th time. PV Sindhu storms into semi-final of Thailand Open Badminton Tournament, and in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 108 for 4 in 13 overs against Rajasthan Royals at Brabant Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the evening news. During the last leg of his journey to Caribbean nations, President Ramnath Kovind met Governor General of St. Vincent and Grenadines, Dame Susan Dugan. The countries signed MOUs on exchange of information and assistance in collection of taxes and on refurbishment of Old Calder Community Project. The President also visited the Botanical Garden where he planted a sandalwood sapling. Mr. Kovind addressed the Parliament of St. Vincent and Grenadines. He said the need of the hour is reform of global institutions to reflect the contemporary global reality. He noted that on this issue, India and St. Vincent and Grenadines share a common interest, approach and understanding. The President also addressed the Indian diaspora of the island nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo on the 24th of this month at the invitation of the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. US President Joe Biden and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, along with the Japanese Prime Minister, will participate in the summit. External Affairs Ministry spokesman Arindam Bagchi informed about the summit in a media briefing in New Delhi last evening.
The forthcoming Quad Summit provides an opportunity for the leaders to exchange views about developments in the Indo-Pacific region and contemporary global issues of mutual interest. The leaders will review progress of Quad initiatives and working groups, identify new areas of cooperation, and provide strategic guidance and vision for future collaborations.
Mr. Bagchi said Prime Minister Modi will have bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. During the visit, Mr. Modi will participate in business events with Japanese business leaders. He will also address and interact with the Indian community in Japan. The MEA spokesperson informed that the Prime Minister is also likely to hold bilateral meetings with US President Joe Biden and Australian PM Scott Morrison.
Reacting sharply on the second bridge being constructed across Pangong Lake by China, the Ministry of External Affairs has said both these bridges are in areas that have continued to be under the illegal occupation of China since 1960s. Ministry of External Affairs spokesman Arindam Bagchi said India has never accepted such illegal occupation of its territory and the country has never accepted the unjustified Chinese claim or such construction activities. He said India has made it clear on several occasions that the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral part of India and India expects other countries to respect country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, participated in the 8th BRICS Environment Ministers meeting, which was held virtually under Presidency of China today. The theme of the meeting was Foster High-Quality BRICS Partnership, usher in a new era for global development. Ministers and delegates from Brazil, Russia and South Africa also participated in the meeting. The Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, is set to embark on a visit to France to attend the Cannes Film Festival from the 22nd to the 24th of this month. He will attend various events and meetings at the festival. FSSAI has launched Food Safety Connect app for food business operators and consumers. Download this app from Google Play Store and easily apply for FSSAI registration. The consumer can use this app to register food-related complaints. AstroSat, India's first dedicated astronomy mission, witnessed the birth of black holes for the 500th time early today. Black holes, the ultimate cosmic enigma, have been a subject of intense scrutiny from astronomers from all over the world. However, Indian scientists are making great headway in studying black hole births using the indigenously built space telescope AstroSat. Calling it a landmark achievement, Professor Dipankar Bhattacharya, the current principal investigator of CZTI, said the wealth of data obtained on gamma-ray bursts is making a big impact worldwide. The AstroSat, with a lift-off mass of 1,515 kg, was launched from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, on the 28th of September 2015. It is the most sensitive space telescope in the world, consisting of 5 instruments that can simultaneously study the universe in ultraviolet,
optical and X-ray radiation. Speaking to AIR News, Associate Professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, who is also responsible for the search for gamma-ray bursts, Professor Varun Bhalerao, said ISRO's AstroSat has once again proved India's prowess in this field.
Gamma ray bursts are these very massive explosions that happen in the universe. They have often even been called mini big bangs because the only explosion that was larger was the one that created the universe itself. Now these emit radiation in X-rays and gamma rays, and AstroSat is one of the satellites that is up there that can actually detect these. Now these bursts have been studied for about 30-40 years now, and a few thousand of them have been discovered, but AstroSat with this 500 mark is now making a major impact on this field. So there are only 2 or 3 other satellites which have been around for more than 10 years which have discovered more than this number of GRBs. And each of these bursts is associated with the birth of a black hole. So when we are discovering about 75 of these every year, we take the ones that are most interesting and we go and observe them in more detail with various telescopes, and we made a lot of discoveries with that. So the 500 mark goes to underscore the important role that AstroSat is playing in the global community on this front.
In Manipur, the 18th Shumang Leela Ningtham Festival, organized by Manipur State Shumang Leela Council in commemoration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, kicked off today in Imphal. Chief Minister N. Biren Singh launched the festival. Shumang Leela is one of the most unique and traditional forms of art, and it plays a reformative role in the society. The popularity of Manipuri Shumang Leela has even crossed the state and national boundaries. This year, 11 Shumang Leela groups are participating in the festival, which will conclude on the 30th of May. Speaking on this occasion, the Chief Minister said that the state government will actively consider providing an annual grant of around 30 lakh rupees to the Manipur State Shumang Leela Council for the welfare of Shumang Leela artists. He said the land where Shumang Leela Shanglin complex stands in Imphal would be exclusively reserved only for Shumang Leela. Former Punjab Congress President Tamjot Singh Sidhu was sent to Patiala jail this evening. Prior to this, Sidhu surrendered in the Patiala court, and after medical checkup at Mata Kaushalya Hospital, he was taken to jail. Earlier in the day, the Supreme Court refused to entertain Sidhu's plea seeking more time to surrender, a day after he was sentenced to 1 year rigorous imprisonment in 1988 road rage case. Sidhu had approached the apex court through his lawyer seeking few weeks' time to surrender.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, an infiltration bid was foiled today in Tangdhar sector of District Kupwara, and one foreign terrorist was killed in the encounter with the security forces. A case under relevant sections of law has been registered at Police Station Karna, while further investigation is in progress. The semi-finals of the 12th Hockey India Sub-Junior Women's National Championship are set to take place in Imphal, Manipur tomorrow. In the first semi-final, defending champion Haryana will take on Madhya Pradesh at 8 a.m. Haryana entered the semi-final after a comfortable 4-1 win over Mizoram in quarter-final, while Madhya Pradesh defeated Maharashtra 2-1. In the second semi-final, Jharkhand will be up against Uttar Pradesh at 8 p.m. In the quarter-final, Jharkhand registered a comprehensive 5-1 win against Punjab, while Uttar Pradesh recorded a 5-0 win over Chandigarh.
In the 12th Hockey Junior Men's National Championship being held at Kovilpatti in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh registered victories in their respective pool matches today. Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu defeated second-seeded Akane Yamaguchi of Japan 21-15, 20-22 and 21-13 to enter the women's singles semi-finals of Thailand Open in Bangkok today.
And now business news. The Sensex and the Nifty today surged around 2.9%. Both indices gained amid positive cues from global share markets. A report from the business desk.
Sensex climbed 1,534 points or 2.91% to trade at 54,326, while Nifty jumped 457 points or 2.89% to trade at 16,266. At the foreign exchange market, the rupee appreciated by 18 paise against the US dollar. The domestic currency closed at 77 rupees and 55 paise against the American unit. And oil prices added marginally amid the planned European ban on Russian oil. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading around $112.70 per barrel. Arjun Chaudhary for EIR News.
In IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 119 for 4 in 15.5 overs against Rajasthan Royals at Ribbon Stadium in Mumbai when the reports last came in. Earlier, Chennai Super Kings won the toss and opted for bat first.
And now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have dust storm or thunderstorm. Minimum temperature will be around 31 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 41 degrees. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 27 and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Temperature will hover between 26 and 32 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. The minimum temperature will be around 29 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 35 degrees. Srinagar and Muzaffarabad are expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunder shower. Jammu will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Leh and Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunder shower. Visakhapatnam will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Hyderabad is likely to experience rain or thunder showers towards afternoon or evening. Thiruvananthapuram and Bangalore are expected to have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl, Gangtok, Agartala and Kohima are expected to have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers, while Itanagar will have a generally cloudy sky with intermittent rain.
This is All India Radio giving you the news.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
And in news just in, National Investigation Agency has conducted searches at multiple locations in Jharkhand in terror funding case of Maghad Amrapali Colliery. Searches were conducted at 6 places in district Chhatra and 1 place in Ranchi in this connection. The case pertains to raising of terror funds and money laundering by a splinter group of CPI Maoists in left-wing extremism affected states of Jharkhand and Bihar. The NIA said that some of the locals had formed an illegal operating committee in the coal region of Maghad Amrapali, which was working for Tritiya Prastuti Committee, TPC, declared unlawful association by the state of Jharkhand. They were raising illegitimate funds from the contractors, transporters and coal businessmen for TPC leaders. During the searches conducted today at the premises of suspect firearms, ammunitions, 3,66,000 rupees in cash, 11 vehicles, incriminating documents and digital devices have been seized.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP National Office Bearers meeting in Jaipur, urges office bearers to work for developmental issues. Centre asks states and union territories to increase pace of COVID-19 vaccination coverage. Supreme Court transfers Gyan Vapi Mosque case to District Judge of Varanasi. India records highest ever annual foreign direct inflow of $83.57 billion in the last fiscal. Reserve Bank of India approves transfer of 30,307 crore rupees as surplus to central government for 2021-22. Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner decide to voluntarily curtail perks and privileges available to them. Government prioritizes research and development as an industry, says Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Indigenously built space telescope AstroSat witnesses birth of black holes for the 500th time. PV Sindhu storms into semi-final of Thailand Open Badminton Tournament. And in IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 120 for 4 in the 16th over against Rajasthan Royals at Brabourne Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.